Welcome everybody to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into it. So a few things happened in Giants camp that I'd like to touch on. One, Logan Ryan coming back off the COVID list. That is excellent news, especially since they're going to Miami and they're going to need all the help they can get defensively to stop that surging team that seems to be doing pretty well down in Dolphin land. So we'll get into Dolphins in a little bit. The second thing is Darnay Holmes. Darnay Holmes is put on IR, and that means at least short-term IR, I think. So that means he at least has at least 3 games he has to miss before he comes back, which is sad because the kid was playing, I wouldn't say some of his best football, but he was playing pretty well to for the Giants this season to kind of get in the game. However, this is a great opportunity for Aaron Robinson. Now, what Aaron Robinson brings to the table that Darnay Holmes doesn't is he's a bigger body. That's first off. So now a lot of bigger slot receivers won't have an advantage over Aaron Robinson as they did Darnay Holmes. The second thing is the blitzing from the cornerback position. From that, the Giants like to do a lot of slot blitzing, especially from that particular position, and having Aaron Robinson, a bigger body person, come in can maybe lay the lumber on the running backs and get to the quarterback a little bit more. I mean, it's no guarantee in size. I mean, just because he's bigger, he's going to be more effective. But what it allows the defense to do is maybe blitz him a little bit more often, maybe keep him up at the line of scrimmage a little bit more because he is a big physical guy. He can do some of the things that Jabril Peppers did in terms of staying in the box and things like that. So he provides scheme versatility for the Giants. He also can play outside. Now, people are like, oh, you never played outside. Look at his college tape. He played outside in his college tape. Don't tell me he didn't play outside. The Giants want to make him a slot corner because they think he has a skill set to do it. So that doesn't mean he can't play outside. As you saw last week, he played outside. It's a different game in the NFL outside as opposed to college, and it's also a different game on the inside in Giant Land in the NFL because you're dealing with the hash marks being at a different spot. And most of the time, corners play all over the place in college, so they play inside, outside. Doesn't really matter. It's just in the NFL, they have a term called slot corner, which is usually designated to a speedier guy, a less over the top type of player, but more of a gadgety zigzag player. But some teams are known to put a DeAndre Hopkins in the slot, a Michael Thomas in the slot. Aaron Robinson affords you the flexibility to cover a player like that. So while I am sad to see Darnay Holmes go, I'm intrigued to see what Aaron Robinson's going to bring to the table, especially in this part of the defense where the secondary is kind of surging right now, and it's going to be fun to see. Lastly, there's rumors, don't know how true it is, but it says that Daniel Jones has a neck strain and he's week to week. A neck strain. Listen. I know we go back and forth with Daniel Jones. One of the key abilities about a quarterback that you need is availability. The availability to play. This is going to be probably a second game missed, depending on how long he's out for. Okay? Well, excuse me. Actually, he didn't miss any games this season. But he's always missed games in his tenure, which is not good if you're a quarterback. He hasn't finished the season fully. And I do believe everyone wants to say it's part of being a runner. Well, I think it's not part of him being a runner. I think it's part of him being a reckless runner, okay? He can be a runner. He can do RPOs. Just don't take on linebackers. And I know that technically he didn't get injured taking on anybody who slid and kind of got his neck rearranged. But that's what happens when you have a quarterback that's running around behind a line. It wasn't even, see, this is the thing. It wasn't even in the pocket, the injury. That's what people need to realize. This was an injury that was sustained outside of the pocket, meaning he was running, he was a runner, and guys are going to take shots. They're going to do it. Whether it's fair or within the rule books, they're going to take shots at a quarterback. Listen, if you know anything about old school football, and Giant fans, I know you do, you have Parcells and those guys as your pillars of coaching growing up with defense. Those guys were nasty. Bill, you don't think Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick said if that quarterback comes around the corner on some read option at that time, they didn't really do read options, but on a sweep play, you better lay him out. I don't know if any of you play football, but that's what they tell you when you do any of those dumb fakes with the quarterback. Lay the quarterback out. So if you don't want him to be in harm's way, don't run him on RPOs. This is what we're talking about. Identity for the Giants. You want to run RPOs? Get a guy that runs RPOs. Don't force a guy, even though he's talented and has the athletic ability to do it. Don't just force him to do it, because this is what happens. So now you're going into a red-hot Miami team with your quarterback named Mike Glennon. Let that sink in, folks. Mike freaking Glennon. Now, I'm not saying Mike Glennon is not going to be effective, but you lose the aspect of RPOs. That's one. You lose the aspect of how the chemistry that you've built up. Well, there's not really that much chemistry, but the chemistry you built up with your offensive line. They're starting to get used to Daniel Jones. Now they have a guy who you thought Daniel Jones was a statue. Mike Glennon, that skyscraper, he can barely move. But what you do allow, though, is a stronger armed quarterback. A guy who can throw the ball downfield a little further. Maybe this will open up the offense. Maybe Freddie Kitchens will be like, can't do RPOs. Can't take certain plays out of the playbook. Let's figure this out. Now, I'm not saying Mike Glennon is the Giants are compromised per se, but if there was a chance to win a football game this week, you want Daniel Jones in there as your quarterback, and we'll find out. This is going to be good, because we'll find out no matter how many games Daniel Jones misses. And this is another thing that annoys me about this thing, right? We wanted to evaluate Daniel Jones for 6 games, and we're not going to get the full 6. We might not even, we don't know how long he's going to be out. They say he's week to week. That's not a good, designation. Maybe he's out 1 week. Maybe he's out 2 weeks. But then what if he gets hit again? He likes to lower his shoulders sometimes. So Sunday is going to be a big test for the Giants. Defensively, they're going to need to step up, because now they have a backup quarterback, and if they want to keep any of their slim playoff hopes alive, they've got to do it. Well, folks, that was it on the updates. Let's see how they play against Miami. Miami's a surging team. They have a solid defense, solid pass rush. Their offense is streaky. Let's hope that their offense is asleep on Sunday and the Giants' defense can capitalize. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those games where we're sitting here come Monday, if they don't play well, wondering what needs to be fixed. And we can give them excuses, but other teams have had backup quarterbacks play. And again, this is what happens when you have a quarterback that runs and you don't effectively protect him in the pocket. You let him run and do these running things. And Daniel Jones is a reckless runner. And he's not a Lamar Jackson. He's not going to juke you out of your shorts. He's not a Jalen Hurst where he's going to be smooth, or a Russell Wilson where he's going to run right out of bounds. Daniel Jones wants to show you he's the guy, and he wants to show you his toughness. And yes, he went back into the game last week, and maybe that is why the Giants' offense was ineffective and he was missing throws. But if he is compromised with an injury, A, why are you putting him back in the game? Okay, B, if the injury wasn't that significant, why is he not playing this week? And C, what are you going to get out of Mike Glennon, who, doesn't get many reps during the regular season? So we'll see how that plays out. It's going to be a lot. Giants have had a lot of drama this season, with more so than many seasons. Firing of coaches, the question marks of the quarterback, and now the quarterback being out, and hopefully them being able to rally around Mike Glennon. I still think the Giants have a chance to win the game. I think they might win the game. Wouldn't be surprised if they did. But don't be alarmed if they lose the game, and it's, Mike Glennon is the reason why. There's a reason why he's a backup quarterback, but there's also a reason why the Giants brought him in here. Remember, they brought a veteran in here, a very lame duck veteran, but a veteran nonetheless, meaning, this is why you got rid of Colt McCoy, because Colt McCoy wanted too much money. You signed somebody who had a terrible season last year to be your backup, effectively hoping to never use him, but having a guy who has had started some games in this league and has won a few games in this league. So don't write off Mike Glennon just yet. Giant fans. I know it's hard to get behind, but hey, we play games on Sunday. That's why you play them on Sunday. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's get it.